The acquired footage page, part 3. Next up, the acquired footage tracker. Now that you have added a source and possibly a category, it's time to add an acquired footage record into ClearPost. Let's go to the acquired footage tracker by clicking here. I will break this tutorial down into the following concepts: creating, modifying, filtering, and searching. Let's start with creating. When you are in the acquired footage tracker section, you will see an area dedicated to creating acquired footage. You will see the following inputs: name, source, category, cost type, cost, and if your project type is series, the last input is episodes. The name input is where you will put the name of the acquired footage. This can be anything you like. Typically, you would use the original file name or clip name that you will be downloading. Be aware that any invalid characters or symbols will be removed. This helps keep files compatible with all programs. It will also turn any spaces into underscores. The source input is where you choose from the sources you have created. You will want to select the source that corresponds to the piece of acquired footage you will be adding. The category input is where you will choose from the categories you have created. This input is not required, but if you want to organize with categories, choose the one that matches this piece of acquired footage. The cost type input. Acquired footage can be priced in multiple ways. Let's take a look at the options to choose from. Per asset, per second, public domain, fair use, and unknown. Let's break each of these options down. Per asset is going to be the most common choice. Any clip that has a set one-time price will fall into this option. Per second. This should be used for any material that needs to be paid for by the second. Public domain. Some material that you come across will be in the public domain. This will likely, but does not always mean that it will cost nothing. Fair use. You will also come across scenarios where you will not be able to license material, but believe you have a legal argument to use this material under fair use. The last is unknown. When you're unsure of the cost or cost type, you should choose this option. Be aware that any of these choices can be changed later as you get more accurate pricing details. The next input is cost. By default, this input will be 0. Here you will add the cost of acquired footage. If you chose per asset, just put the one-time cost. If you chose per second, add the cost you will have to pay per second of use. You can change this for all pricing types except unknown. And if your project type is series, the last input is episodes. Here you can attach an episode to a piece of acquired footage. If your acquired footage needs to be organized by multiple episodes, you can add more than one episode later. Before I show you the rest of the create settings and options, let's go ahead and create this one. You will see it populate below. It's as easy as that. Now let's go back to the top to go over the other create settings. You may have noticed the blue locks next to the inputs. These little locks, if clicked, will prevent the inputs from resetting every time you create an acquired footage record. This can be helpful if you have a large list of acquired footage that share attributes. For example, if you have a lot of acquired footage coming from the same source, or you have multiple clips that need to be organized by the same category. By clicking the blue locks, it'll lock in whatever category, source, or any of the other options available. This will speed you up when creating multiple records. This functionality will work with any of the inputs. Next to some of these inputs is a checkbox. These checkboxes allow you to add the input's name into your record name. You can add the episode, the source name, or category. They will be added to the file name in that order. If you wish for any of these to be checked by default, you can click here to make them the default. This will check these checkboxes by default on page load. The user at any time can uncheck these for them not to be added to the record name. Let's walk through how this works. Simply click the checkboxes for the inputs you wish to be in your record name. Then click Create, and you will see the episode, source, and category in your record name. The last creation setting I want to go over is the link input. When creating a new acquired footage record, you have the option of adding a website link. it is highly suggested that you use this input. If you don't use this input on creation, you will be able to add or change a website link later. But if you do use this on creation, you will have a couple benefits. The first is ClearPost will search your list of acquired footage and make sure that this link does not already exist. This will prevent the same clip from having multiple acquired footage numbers. That could lead to incorrect cost reports later down the road. The other benefit is ClearPost will automatically pull the file ID number from the more popular sources. It will also check that file ID against other clips from this source that may share the same ID. The next section is modifying. Here you can make changes to any of the acquired footage records. Let's take a look at the options from left to right. The first thing you will see is the acquired footage number. Next to that is the acquired footage name. This is what you should rename your file before importing into your offline editing platform. Simply click on the name and it will be copied to your clipboard. Then simply rename the file with the paste function on your computer. Source. Here you can manage source file information, as well as categories and episodes. Here you will see a source link, if you added one on creation, or you can use the edit button to add or change the link. You can only add a unique link. Below that is the original file ID. This would be the unique source ID that the source uses to organize their database. Below that is notes. Here you can add any kind of thoughts or helpful information that are specific to this piece of acquired footage. Below that is the rights restriction input. This is a helpful input because whatever you place in here will show up on the acquired footage cost reports. A good example of this would be to let yourself know later if this acquired footage is used, you must do something. Like you must credit the source a certain way, or if this clip is temp and can't be used. At the top right, you will find the source that is attached to this acquired footage. This cannot be changed. Below that is category. Here you can add, change, or remove a category. You can only add one category per acquired footage record. You can also copy the category name by clicking here. This is helpful if you are using categories as bin names. Below that is episodes. Here you can add, change, or remove an episode. You can add more than one episode if needed. The next section is cost. Here you can switch the cost type and also make changes to the cost itself. If you choose per second, please see the per second pricing tutorials. The next section is format. Here you can choose the frame rate of the acquired footage. This is recommended but not required unless your acquired footage is priced per second. We do recommend that you add a frame rate to every acquired footage record, because the cost reports will give you a better calculation of acquired footage's on-screen duration if it has a frame rate attached. Color. Here you can simply change the color of the acquired footage record. This is helpful in denoting things while you work. This can be helpful in communicating with your team. For example, communicating to one of your team members that you need to do something to a certain acquired footage if it's marked blue. Next is added. This is a tool for the assistant editor so that they can track and communicate that acquired footage has been added to the offline editing platform. Once added to the editing platform, simply click the Added button. Once this has been marked added, no one can delete this acquired footage record. If an acquired footage record needs to be removed from this project, the assistant editor should remove it entirely from the offline editing platform, then uncheck the Added button. At this point, this record can be deleted. Next to that is the License dropdown. By default, this will be marked as unlicensed. If you eventually purchase this piece of acquired footage, simply mark it licensed. At that point, any subsequent cost reports will indicate that it was licensed and costs $0. This is the person icon. It will show you who created the record and when. Next to that is the trash icon. This is how you delete an acquired footage record. If you wish to delete an acquired footage record, simply click the icon and you will be prompted to confirm that you want to delete the record. Be aware, this is a permanent delete and cannot be undone. If you do delete an acquired footage record, that acquired footage number that you deleted will be skipped. This is to protect from any acquired footage sharing the same number. Filtering. Now that you have acquired footage in your database, what's the best way to look through it? One easy way is to use filtering. In this header here, you will see you have a few different options. You'll see the season, the episode, source, category, added, starts at number, and search. We'll talk about search in a minute. These are your filters. Using any of these drop-downs or inputs will filter out any acquired footage records that do not meet your filtering choices. If you wish to find a specific number, type it in here at the starts at input. It'll automatically populate a list that starts with that number. If you want to reset this input, simply delete the number. If you are looking for a record or records, but aren't sure how to find it, you can use the search input to help locate it. You can search for the following fields in ClearPost: link, original file ID, notes, rights restrictions, and number, as well as the name of the clip itself. When working with multiple team members, you'll notice that if a new acquired footage record is created while you're working, this yellow rectangle will appear. If you wish to see the new acquired footage records your team member just created, click the yellow rectangle and you will see the new records. We will continue this tutorial in part 4.